Thanks, everybody. We're about ready to start. 7 tips and tricks for cloud collaboration. I'm Tom Haadsma. Mike Ritsema and I will be presenting this for about 30 minutes, next 30 minutes. We're just going to give you an educational overview of some of the things you can do beyond email. Mike and I have both been in the business working towards greater productivity, helping customers out for about 25 years. And we thought we'd put this together and show you ways to get beyond email, because trying to manage all your communications just with email these days is just crazy. So many opportunities to streamline communications beyond email alone. So again, this is meant to be educational. It's not a training session. It is being recorded if you'd like to share this later on. And of course, you'll have a chance to submit questions at the end of the session here. And let's start this dialogue. If you have additional questions, contact us, reach out to us. We'll come to your location. We'll help you assess some of your requirements and help you get going in these areas. With that said, what we're trying to do is present a number of things being driven by cloud resources like Microsoft Office 365, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, how we can get beyond email and just phone conversations, and little tips and tricks that we can all use to get stuff done. So at the end, we'll have a couple of contact points for you. So without further ado, we'll just jump into it right now.
Alrighty, thank you, Tom. Again, my name is Mike Ritsema, and agenda-wise, we're going to talk about what the heck are we trying to do here in our businesses. What are we trying to accomplish? Why? What? Whence? And then we'll get straight into the tips and tricks. I get a little bit excited about this stuff because I like to think about what do the managers in our organizations want? What do the executives, what do the owners really want out of an organization? And I maintain it's 4 things. It's productivity improvement. How can I do more with less? How can I be more profitable? I don't care if you're a nonprofit or a profit. You have to end up with more money at the end of the day so that you can pay the bills, pay the employees, make payroll, and keep the organization going forward. And toward that end, risk mitigation becomes primary. Financial, physical, and technological risk. Let's make sure that we have enough money, stuff's not going out the back door, and my technology doesn't get shut down by the Bulgarians. And then, of course, how can I innovate? How can I be different from my competition? That's what executives want: productivity, profitability, innovation, and risk mitigation. So what we want is results, basically results. If you're a manufacturer, distributor, a healthcare organization, legal, banking, finance, we want business results, organizational results. And to get there, what does it take? Well, Bill Manifold, local consultant, said all work gets done with people. I don't think many of us can think of a single person that gets up every day, never communicates with another human. So relationships and communication are primary to what we do. Hopefully we're finding a way to have fun. We're in a position that we're passionate about and we actually enjoy our work. And then we do our daily work, and that's how we get organizational results. But here's the problem. I've calculated this thing, and there's somewhere between 18 and 24 ways to communicate with me. It is out of control. So I have an office email and a home email. I have some old email addresses. I have in the top right corner 4 different phones. Okay, I have an office phone, a cell phone. I'm old school. I've got a home phone. I've got a Google Voice number. Why? Because I could get one. Then in those areas, you can text me on almost any one of those devices. Thank heavens there's text-to-speech. And you can leave me a voicemail at any of those locations too. Social media, I am a social media guy in the lower left corner, and so there's LinkedIn, Facebook, Google+, Link, etc. And that leads right into instant messaging. If you've ever used AOL a decade ago, you were an early adopter. And now we have Link Instant Messaging, we have Skype, we have Yammer as a social site and as an instant message site. People can get to me every which way but loose. And as a last resort, you could actually walk down the hall, call me up, say, let's do coffee or lunch. You could sit down and talk to me. So there are so many ways to communicate. It's madness. And it constantly changes. I don't know about you, but I'm living in text messaging right now. I'm talking about group text messages coming from the youth of America. I think they're done with email. And so now I have to keep up with text messages on a regular basis. So I maintain and I submit that we maintain relationships with others in different ways. And let's talk about that. How do we deal with, how do we get to the next step? And the answer is to manage your relationships and your communication chaos. A lot of our organizations are living in email, we're living in broadcast email, we're living in dialogue by email, and that's okay. I maintain there's improved in different ways to do it. Certainly different personalities impact the types of communication that we use. And so how we segment that communication impacts our day-to-day life. And again, my personality is different than yours. In the lower left-hand corner here, Stephen Covey in 7 Habits of Highly Successful People talks about urgent versus important. The problem is when emails keep flowing into my inbox, there's a lot of urgency going on. How do I settle this down and get to work on the important stuff? How do I get up in the morning and 8 hours later say, yep, I got the important stuff done? And I say we can do this by segmenting relationships because I maintain we have a number of relationships at work and at home. We have vendor relationships. We have customer relationships. We have internal business relationships. We have family and friend personal relationships. Could we segment some of these relationships and allocate the priority? Clearly, I'm submitting, yes, we can. And let's talk about different ways to do that. So we're going to go through 7 different trips. We're going to go through 7 different tips and tricks. And we're going to start with the first one, which contains 6 different options. And that is use, go offline, move to folders, rules, carbon copy, quick steps, and folders. And if you can see my screen right now, and we're checking on that, can you see my screen right now? Then you can see that there's an icon at the top called Go Offline, Move to Folder. I'm going to flip over to Outlook in a moment and show you. We will talk about rules, we'll talk about carbon copy, we'll talk about quick steps, and we'll talk about folders. You can see here that in my carbon copy folder a 3 days ago, I had 54 different carbon copy items. Let's flip over, and hopefully you can see my Outlook screen, and let's just go through it. First, go offline. In Outlook 2010 and 13, and I think going back to 2003, you can customize your commands at the top of your ribbon. And so if you go to My Commands, you can select from, oh my goodness, you can select from somewhere around 100 to 200 commands. I like the work offline, and I like the move to folder, and I like the send and receive. So we find those icons, we put them up there, and I can go offline, and now no emails are coming at me. I can focus on the work that's in front of me. Because I had my emails down to about 21 this morning, and at this moment they're at 49. And in my perfect world, those 49 emails are coming from internal I3 people. They're coming from consultants that we work with. They're coming from important customers that I deal with. So I can go offline, focus on this, and get to the important things that I want to work on. Move to folder. got an email that came in here, and I've got the option to move it directly to a folder. I submit. That's how I'm going to work with these emails. And I can also right-click and say add a reminder and put a reminder to deal with this next week after Labor Day. Put that reminder on there, stuff it in a folder, and be done with it. That's the way, again, personality-based. I recognize that some people like to keep 1,000 or 10,000 emails in their inbox and use the Google-like instant search. I recognize that's a way to manage your email communication. That's your prerogative. I personally am a bit of a digital hoarder, like to organize things into folders. So let's talk about rules for just a minute. We can find the rules section here, and we can manage rules and alerts. I can't do that now because I'm offline, which, by the way, is another challenge that I have. When I go offline and I'm working and I send out 6 or 8 emails, and then I call the person and say, let's talk about the email, they say to me, I didn't get your email. And then I realize, oh yeah, you didn't get my email because I was offline. I'll go back online, and let's go to rules and alerts. We can create rules, we can manage rules and alerts. And I get a question that says, do you want to manage the rules and alerts on the server or on your desktop? And in this case, I want to manage the rules on the server, not on my desktop. My favorite rule is the rule where my name is in the carbon copy. Send the email directly to a folder I created called carbon copy. And that implies that we have a carbon copy rule inside our organizations. The carbon copy rule says, if I'm carbon copied in an email, it's for my information only. And that means that there's no action items for me to take. So that is rules and alerts. Now when I get an email in, I can right-click on it and create a rule right from that point. So I can right-click on an email, create a rule. All emails like that in the future will be handled the same way. I mentioned quick steps. Quick steps in 2013 are nothing more than rules, and I can take an email, quick step, move it into a file folder. And lastly, folders. Yes, I'm a bit of a digital hoarder. I like to organize things into folders, but let's talk about folders a minute, because certainly I can take a folder and right-click on that folder, and I am recommending that you change from the default show number of unread items to show the total number of items in a folder. And that means that when I look at my folders, I can see exactly what is in, how many emails are in each folder. I think you might find this interesting that I'd say a year ago, I looked at my quarantine every day of the week. Hey, are there any emails in spam that I should look at? You can see that I have not looked at that in 109 days. You can see that carbon copy has ballooned a little bit. It's up to 148 items. And that's 148 emails that I haven't looked at in the last 3 to 4 days. You can see that, regretfully, over the last decade, I've signed up for a lot of e-newsletters. I must be on a ton of mailing lists. And I just create rules and say, put it into the e-newsletter list. And the nice thing here is I can come and sort by where the emails came from, and I can go into that folder and scan it and say, do I really need to read 293 emails? I think I'll hang up the technology all over the world. I'm just going to delete all 283 of those emails and empty that folder. So now I just read 293 emails in less than a few minutes. So that's folders. Lastly, I do want to mention that the important folders, I have them listed in sequence of priority. So as I come down these folders, they're less and less important. And I can go to any folder down here, right-click on it, and say, show in favorites. Move it up to favorites. So my favorite folders are up here. Other folders are down here. These are the most important folders that I'm looking at email. Clearly, my inbox is the most important folder that I have. So let's come back to our discussion and move forward to drag and drop, I just want to spend a moment back in Outlook on drag and drop and say, if I get an email from somebody, then I can take that email and drop it directly into a calendar item and maintain all the content and phone numbers in that email and create a calendar item. I like this because if I've got an appointment, it syncs to my cell phone. If I'm looking for a phone number, I can go right in there and find the phone number. It takes me somewhere around 15 to 30 seconds to create a calendar appointment that way. Certainly, I'm pro conversation view when you're working in Outlook. Show as conversations. Again, why am I pro conversation? Because you can see here that I've got 3 emails here, and if I scan those emails, I can delete 3 at a time. So again, a productivity means to group emails together, look at them all at the same time, and delete them. Tom has a comment here about working with emails and the way that we reply to emails. Go ahead, Tom.
One little tip that I picked up from a couple years ago from a couple folks I was talking to was always try to get your responses down to 3 lines, addressing the question raised, stating the next action item, and then signing off with who's going to do what when. If you can keep to 3 lines, much like we truncate things when we send text messages on our phone or IM messages, if you can bring that to your emails, it cuts down on a lot of long-winded email conversations and defines the next action steps a lot more efficiently.
Thank you, Tom. All right, let's keep moving here and step right forward to number 3, task management. So I am old school, and in some respects, Tom just mentioned keeping emails sparse. Some of us old school folks like to, use perfect grammar. I'm moving toward terse responses, bullets. Let's keep it brief and to the point, which I think is what Tom said. Now, from task management, I am old school. Like I said, come out of the old Franklin Covey daytimer calendar priority management system. I have a business to-do list and a personal to-do list. And that says out of my emails, calendar, everything that I'm dealing with, conversations, the most important things I'm going to write in this to-do list. Now, I recognize that some of the youth of America especially, and some technologists want to live in an exclusively digital world. I'm still maintaining personally that having 24 different ways to communicate with me, somehow I have to narrow it all down to the important stuff to me in my personal and in my business list. I personally do it with this type of to-do list. Tom will describe the way that he manages the chaos of all the activities and requirements and demands.
Actually, I simplified quite a bit by going to an iPhone and using that in conjunction with Evernote. Again, there are so many tools available. What works best for you on a personal level? How does that fit in with your organization? I run some great applications from my iPhone, most of them Microsoft-based, and there's a tool called OneNote from Microsoft that you can use that's similar in functionality to Evernote, but I found that has simplified things enormously for me and kind of done away with the need for writing in a paper notebook or a spiral-bound notebook, which I've done for years. iPhone's handling a lot of those things for me automatically.
Beautiful. Digital management of tasks in the old school written means to manage. So use appropriate communication. Technology is moving quickly, and certainly instant messaging is upon us. Oh, heck, it's been upon us for a decade, and AOL started it. I remember the consolidator programs that would consolidate instant messaging. But at I3 Business Solutions, we live in a Skype world amongst many of peers, vendors, etc. And we're moving toward Link, and certainly we use Link. I use Link. We use a voice over IP system called 8x8. It has instant messaging. And part of the message here that we're conveying is there's no right or wrong answer. I'll get to that in a moment. But certainly use the appropriate communication, and that is, rather than sending an email, might an instant message work? Hey, might a conversation in the hallway work? And certainly email becomes an option also. We'll talk about other options as we move forward. And so, like I just said, there is no right or wrong answer. There are productivity improvements when done right, though. I always think about shared files. What is the right way to manage shared files? Well, certainly, it's have no files on the desktop. Put them on a shared drive on the server. Oh no, new technology. Let's use Box.com, Dropbox, OneDrive, SharePoint. What about a VPN? What about our ERP or PSA software? Maybe there should be no files on the desktop or on the shared drive or in Dropbox. They should all be in our ERP software. No right or wrong answers, just organizational improvement and the ability to work smarter and better together. So let's talk about Yammer for a moment, because again, I am a social media guy. I like Facebook. I use it as a virtual journal of my life for the last 5 years. And the add-on apps, write this down, if you're not using TimeHop Abe and you are in a Facebook world, it is just a fun application because it takes me back a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 or 15 years. If I uploaded pictures from 10 or 20 years ago, TimeHop Abe goes back exactly 1 year this day, 3 years, 5, 10, what were you doing? A little bonus item for you there. But certainly Yammer was acquired by Microsoft 2 years ago, and you can see it looks a lot like Facebook. It is actually a means of collaboration that we can use at work. The good news is that it's built for business. So you have followers that follow you, and you can follow them back. You can discriminate and create groups that are security-based. Let me just flip over a moment and show you Yammer in an innocuous site with our peer group where, yes, you can post a link and link to the link. You can like it. You can reply to it, create dialogue. You can add files. On the right-hand side, you can see that you can add files. You can add notes. You can add links. And you can secure the use of this. You can have different securities. You're notified when there's a new interaction. So Yammer, we find, is a very productive way to check in. Now, do I have to check Yammer every 15 minutes? No. I can check Yammer once a day, once a week, once every 3 days if I'd like. I find Yammer to be a very productive way to collaborate outside of email. Similarly, SharePoint's been around with Microsoft for over 5 years, and it allows similar collaboration from discussion boards to file sharing to segmented sites for specific subjects, and it's integrated to Outlook, it's integrated to Link, it is integrated to Yammer. So choosing, again, no right or wrong answers, but choosing how to collaborate and share information and move beyond email is what we're talking about here today. So let's move to number 7, and that is cloud criteria, which really parallels application productivity criteria. How do you choose a collaboration platform? What type of criteria should you bring to this? And I just wrote down 7 of them. Let's just go through them quickly. Number 1, choose a platform. Let's not go sign up for a separate email address, a separate project management platform, a separate file sharing platform. Now we've got 5, 6, 7 logins. Nothing works together. Let's choose a platform so that we don't have islands of information. And let's hopefully have a single sign-on so I don't have to sign on 4, 5, 6 times, manage passwords and everything else. Number 2, efficacy and roadmap. Let's make sure that there's some vendor strength and direction. I'm saying if you built your business around AOL, today you might say, I need to make some changes. I would submit that there are some vendors that have strong offerings that are getting stronger. They have a strong roadmap. Certainly we like Microsoft Office for that integration, for that single sign-on, for that roadmap, for that direction. Ability to implement. Let's make sure we can get this stuff working and it's not pie in the sky. The ability to actually use it is high on my list. Requirements. Let's look at our business and what our business needs are. And then number 5, let's make sure that there's alignment to our business needs and to our business. Let's not go find something that's built for GM or Ford. Let's find something that's built for my size organization that I can actually get to work. It doesn't work seamlessly with my other stuff. I'm running an ERP software system or a line of business software system. Does it integrate? Number 6, security. Is it built for business? Is it going to prevent attacks? How is it going to segment users? Let's make sure that it's built for business. And then, of course, price. Is it going to put me out of business, or is it going to help me be more profitable, manage my enterprise in a cost-effective way? 7 criteria for choosing a platform as we look at different options. I'll turn things over to Tom to wrap things up and take some questions.
Mike, yeah, in summary, tell you that our to help you us our business integrate all these technologies, processes, existing systems. And that all drives productivity, stuff done, you get it done faster and cheaper. So, again, how to leverage all these tools coming out. Leverage Office 365. Leverage a lot of the third-party tools. Make it all work for your business. Our message is intelligent information integration with an emphasis on integration. I would like to point out that we would like to reach out to you in terms of email and follow-up phone calls, but we'd like to encourage you to sign up for free trials of some of the software. And we also have the i3 Quick Start program that helps you get going quickly, maybe with a pilot group or with your entire organization, to get you in the game and start using these tools more effectively, more quickly. And part of that is assessing your requirements and getting you hitting the ground running when you make a decision to move toward these things. So with that said, Mike?
You bet. Let's see if there's any questions out here, and let me take a look, see if there's any questions. Yeah, I see one question here about the roadmap for Office 365 and Microsoft. What's the roadmap look like? I can tell you one thing that's on the roadmap is Link. Certainly we know that voice over IP is hot and getting hotter. Why buy a new piece of hardware to put on premise when there's so many options out there in the cloud? And Microsoft's roadmap for Link is definitely toward a PBX, that this instant messaging, communication, video conference call system that exists today in Link, which is very similar to Skype, which is owned by Microsoft. When will that turn into a phone system that I can just dial the phone and make phone calls? How does the convergence of the telephone, video conversations, and instant messaging come together? Yes, it's definitely on the roadmap for Microsoft's Office 365. Here's another question. Does i3 offer any software training? Yes, absolutely. And like Tom mentioned earlier, if you're interested in this type of presentation or conversation for your organization or for a group that you're involved with, contact us, email cloud@i3bus.com, call us up, we'll talk on the phone. And software training, absolutely. Either structured or unstructured training is available from i3 Business Solutions. All right. In the absence of any other questions, we got a late start today. I think we're sitting right on top of 30 minutes. You're welcome to email us with questions or call us, and I thank you for this time talking about 7 tips and tricks for productivity in the office.